Wait. Before we start, just want to make sure we're clear here. While this podcast talks about sobriety, mental health, and addiction, it is not meant to replace professional medical advice. Welcome to Sisters in Sobriety.
I'm Kathleen.
And I'm Sonia.
And we're ex-sisters-in-law, brought together in marriage and bonded through our sobriety journey.
Join us as we talk sobriety, addiction, and everything in between. You're in for quite a ride. And our Substack is buzzing with amazing content, from creative mocktail recipes to insightful courses and reflective exercises. There is something for everyone. Don't miss out. It's a great way to add some extra joy and depth to your journey. Check it out. Welcome to Sisters in Sobriety and to our series, The Truth About Sober Dating, Sex, and Relationships, where we ask our guests 10 burning questions about dating. And today we have Whitney. Whitney, can you introduce yourself and your relationship status?
I can, yes. I'm Whitney Combs, and I'm a health and wellness coach specializing in addiction and recovery. I live in Tampa with my husband, so that's my relationship status, and 3 of my children. And we've been married in May of this year. We will have been married for 14 years. So we're coming up on a 15-year. I'm hoping for a big trip. We'll see.
Yeah. Oh my God, 15 is a big deal. Okay, so since you're married,
Mm-hmm.
do you remember your first sober date with your husband after you stopped drinking?
I don't remember specifically a first sober date. I kind of remember the trajectory, that things felt very uncomfortable in the beginning, and figuring out what to do, where to go, how to show up without drinking, because it had been central to our relationship. We would just go out to dinner and drink, and then go home and drink more. And so that has shifted a lot into a place where I love going out now. Like, I love date night. And it took a while to get to the point where I'm like really enjoying spending time, sober time with my husband. So I don't remember specifically the first, but I definitely know that we have kind of journeyed to a place where we're good with it now.
Is sober sex weird?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah, it is so funny. And we've had a journey with that too, truthfully. And I think my sex life is so much better now that I'm sober. And I think it's because I have the capacity and I've practiced vulnerability enough to say, here's what I want. Here's what I need. Here's what makes me feel good, in a way that I couldn't do before. Like, we just didn't have those conversations, and we do now. And so
like, the idea that alcohol makes you uninhibited is not true in that.
Right.
It's not a truth serum. It's
not. It's definitely not. And it also just dampens the genuine connection that you want to have. Like, if I I used to wake up in the morning and not remember having sex.
I know.
And that's like terrifying.
It's terrifying. I know. In other circumstances, that would be a crime. But yes, I know.
Right. And so how do you connect? Like, how do you build that connection with someone if you're not remembering that physical intimacy?
So true. I hadn't thought about it that way, but yeah, so true. Okay, what is your go-to response when someone asks you why you don't drink?
I tell people that drinking was a bad look on me. And I went overboard way more often than I meant to. And because I started using it for big emotions and managing how I was feeling, and what I really wanted to feel was peace and clarity, I stopped. The easiest thing for me to do was stop, take it out of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great answer. You don't use the word alcoholic. You don't use the word disorder. Yeah. I think that's such an easy way to explain it.
Yeah. And I think, there are lots of ways to tell people, and there's no right or wrong way, I don't think, to do it. But I do think it's important to practice it, to know what you're going to say to people, and not let it catch you off guard.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. So green and red flags. What is a green flag that you should look for in a relationship that maybe you don't notice when you're drinking? And what's a red flag that you used to ignore or you might ignore that's a deal breaker?
So the green flag is definitely someone who is willing to explore their own shit, who's willing
Mhm.
to explore their own emotions, who's willing to give you space to explore your emotions, to figure out like what you really want out of life. And that I always kind of felt like I've always been very self-aware, even when I was drinking, like very emotionally aware. But it didn't dawn on me that that was going to be very important in a partner because I thought, no, this is what I do. I'm good. But I need that in a partner. And it honestly is what part of what ended my first marriage. That inability to really dig into his own shit. And he's a great guy, but
Yeah.
well, he wasn't interested, right? And so
Yeah.
that's definitely a green flag for me. A red flag, I think, is, I used to tell white lies all the time. And it never bothered me that other people would
Mm,
tell white lies. And
mm.
when I got sober, I made a promise to myself that was going to stop,
Yeah.
that I was going to be truthful, that I was going to show up as authentically and honestly as I could. And so anybody who's not showing up that way, who's willing to lie to
Yeah.
somebody else, they're willing to lie to you too. So that's a big
Yeah.
red flag for me.
That is so true. I don't lie anymore. It's really important to me to be authentic. And it's so funny. I met my boyfriend on Bumble, and I think he said he was a Buddhist. He's not. And I still make fun of him. I make fun of him because I think it's so crazy. But I know people like stretch on their like profiles, but now it's funny to both of us. I mean, he admitted it very quickly.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
but now sometimes I'll call him, I'll be like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, meditating. And I'm like, "You are not."
I love it.
Yeah. And actually, this is a good one. My niece's boyfriend is like 5'3", and he would say he was 5'8" or 5'9" on dating profiles because he said like that's what women's cutoffs were. And
Mhm.
then he told her as soon as they matched, like, by the way, I'm like 5'4".
Okay.
But
That is hilarious, though.
I did not stretch on I did not like make my profile look any better than it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
If anything, I would make it look worse. And yeah. Okay. So what is and we were actually talking about this before we started recording. What is your go-to sober date activity?
I love concerts. Absolutely love going to concerts. It took a minute to figure out how to go to concerts sober
Oh my
and not
God.
drink, but so much better sober. I remember everything. I'm not sloppy. In fact, we were at a concert last Friday night, and the woman in front of me was, bless her heart, three sheets to the wind. And at one point in the concert, they threw a drumstick out, and she flung back to grab it and knocked me on my ass. And then the people behind me fell too. And so it's like, what is that
No.
about? So anyway, I love going to concerts. Concerts are great. And then I pick my restaurants based on the mocktail and dessert menus.
Me too.
And so I love going to restaurants. Like my husband will have a beer and I will have mocktails, and it's great. And it's so fun to try different places and different drinks. So those are my things.
Yeah, I love that. And that is the fun part about being sober now. 10 years ago, the only option was sparkling water. But it is really fun. And because I'm not drinking my calories anymore, I always get dessert.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
And the concert thing is so true. Like I drank so much at concerts that I wouldn't remember some of them. And I missed Careless Whisper,
Oh God,
George Michael, because
oh
I was
no.
getting a drink. Okay. Yeah. I was in line getting a drink when he sang Careless Whisper, and now he's no longer with us. I'll never hear it again live.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your advice for someone who's going on their first date without a drink?
I think telling people ahead of time, like telling your date ahead of time, rather than trying to have that conversation live. Maybe
Yeah.
you do it on the phone. It's a little easier, or you do it before you're like in the middle of the date. So I think telling someone is makes everything easier. And then know what you're going to drink. Don't go in blind. Look at the menu online
Yeah.
beforehand, figure out what you're going to order and have it just at your fingertips. And then I think suggesting things that aren't alcohol centric. Go axe throwing, for God's sake. Go to a comedy club. I mean, I know there's drinking at a comedy club, but do things that are active and activities rather than going to sit in a bar or going to sit in a restaurant. I think doing fun stuff makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. And if someone doesn't want to do that, that's a red flag.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
How much are you comfortable with your partner drinking? So, what are your limits, or do you have them? Like mine is if I were on a date with somebody, like a first date, and they had like more than two drinks at dinner, it was like a definite no for me. What's your comfort level?
Yeah, and that's been a journey too. Because at first I was not comfortable with my husband DG drinking at all. And he quit
Mhm.
with me for like 4 years. He maybe drank twice. And now I don't like alcohol in the house. We do not keep alcohol in the house. Although I have teenagers, and so sometimes alcohol gets in the house. That's a whole different podcast.
Yeah.
Um, so we don't have it in the house, but we will go out, and I'm comfortable now with him having a couple drinks. And I do ask him to not get wasted, and
Hmm.
he respects that. But he'll have two or three, and
Hmm.
that feels okay. It's
Yeah.
really fine with me.
Yeah. I think too, it changes as you get more comfortable in your sobriety. And then you start to see, I think when you're first getting sober, you think everyone has a drinking problem. You start to see that pattern. But I think once you're more comfortable, you can see the difference between like a normal drinker and
Mhm.
like a problem drinker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And my husband's a very normal drinker. He can take it or leave it. He can have one. He will leave some on the table when we leave.
Yes.
I'm like,
I think that's
what is that?
crazy.
That's insanity.
Who would do that?
You paid for that. It's alcohol.
Yeah.
Drink it.
So crazy. I think that too. I think that too. With anyone who leaves alcohol on the table, I'm like,
Yeah.
what is that?
We never do
Like,
that. Not
no.
once.
Okay, who do you call to vent after a fight with your partner?
I have two best sober girlfriends that I met in sobriety, and they are my people. Andrea and Christy, and they will give me perspective when I need it. They've got my back when I need it. They are 100% behind me, but they will also tell me when I'm wrong,
Yeah.
when something's off, when my way of thinking about a fight, for example, isn't quite right. They'll challenge me on that gently. So those are my people.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. Okay, if your love life had a playlist, what's the first track?
So I love this question.
People hate it. I
Oh
knew
no,
you were gonna like it
I
too.
love it. I love it. In fact, I could give you a whole playlist, but I won't. So the first track would be a Jason Isbell song called If We Were Vampires. And the whole premise of the song is like, we have this one life to live together. We're not vampires. We're not going to live forever. And so we've got this one life. And he says it's knowing that this can't go on forever. The likely one of us will spend some time alone, and one day you'll be gone, one day I'll be gone. So it's heartbreaking and so sad, but also like reminds me we've got now. That's what I have. That's what I have with my husband right now is now. And that's all I know that I have. And so I have to appreciate him in this moment. I have to love him in this moment. And we're not vampires. It's a great song if you haven't listened to it. Oh
I
my,
haven't. I'm going to. I might even link to it in the show
it's
notes.
fan freaking tastic. Jason Isbell is fan freaking tastic. He's sober. And
Ah,
he sings a lot about sobriety, and I think he has 13 years this year. Yeah,
okay. I'm actually gonna check it out right after
yeah,
this.
he's awesome.
Okay, fill in the blank. I
Mm.
used to think love was blank. Now I know it's blank.
I think I used to think that love was a fairy tale, that it would just kind
Yeah.
of drop in your lap and everything would be good and you'd live happily ever after. And it's not true. It takes work. So now I
Mhm.
know that a relationship takes work. I know love is a commitment. I know it is showing up for each other. And I know that it takes energy and time. And that's the only way. And my husband and I have an amazing marriage. And that's why, because we give each other our time and energy.
Yeah, and it's a choice.
It's a choice, 100% a choice.
Yeah. It's
Yes,
not just like the crazy feelings and everything. It's like a
right.
clear-headed decision.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Whitney. This was awesome.
So fun.
And yeah, and we will link to all your information at the end of the show notes. This was Sisters in Sobriety.
Thank you for listening and being with us today.
If you want to learn more about sobriety and meet your community, find us at sistersinsobriety.substack.com.
Are you a sister in sobriety? Then reach out on social media. We'd love to hear from you.
If you're feeling generous, leave us 5 stars and a review and follow us wherever you listen.
You'll never miss an episode. Until next time.